talking vegetables. I'm pretty sure that's witchcraft. Okay, so I know I just said that they were vegetables, but if you want to be specific, both tomatoes and cucumbers are technically fruit. I'm not saying this to correct myself, I'm just pointing out the fact that a show called VeggieTales is hosted by fruit. But I guess that's an easy mistake. It's not like they have something crazy like bacon on the show. Oh wait. Larry's wide open smile as the show opens.
Welcome. Today we've got a letter from Lucy Anderson.
The letter is
Phoenix,
big.
Arizona.
I know that makes the scale seem a bit more accurate from an actual letter a child wrote to a tomato, but this is the only time this ever happens on the show.
Dear Bob and Larry.
Although Bob is reading the letter, you can hear the child's voice speaking it. Again, this is the only time in the show that this happens.
Sometimes I think there are monsters in my closet.
Wow, that child's voice is pretty monotone, even for a 6-year-old. Ooh. When Bob announces a video, Larry bends down on where the camera panned on Bob, and Larry stares down at what we can only assume is Bob's butt. If tomatoes have butts. Which they don't. What the crap is he staring at?
Well then, stand back and behold!
Your shadow says Short Scallion, but your voice says Jimmy Gord. Also, they are anthropomorphizing their machines in this world too, apparently. That is clearly a face.
Don't go near that door!
Not Jimmy Gord tells Frankensalary not to go near the door just as he opens the door. Why does Frankensalary do this weird waddle walk when everybody else on the show hops around? The camera pans off the TV and onto Junior as we hear a voice in pain. What exactly is Frankensalary doing to that person? Vegetable? Fruit? Junior Asparagus is clearly taking some pretty powerful hallucinogenics in order to have such vivid hallucinations. Breaking and entering. Did Bob and Larry just break through the ceiling? And if so, where are the scraps of wood and shingles and stuff that would come with it?
I'm Bob. I'm a tomato, and I'm here to help you.
Bob claims he's here to help, but he does know what he's doing is breaking and entering, right? Even if he didn't magically come from the ceiling.
We couldn't help but notice that you were just a little bit frightened, so we thought we'd drop in and help.
Did you hear that? Bob and Larry couldn't help but notice a 5-year-old boy in his own house was a little bit frightened. I'm pretty sure there's some illegal activity going on here. You know, aside from the breaking and entering.
Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which... Wrong story, Larry.
Unsatisfied with simply breaking and entering, now they are breaking the fourth wall.
Nope, I wasn't scared.
Junior says he's not scared, even though we clearly saw him scared. I know this isn't a sin on the movie's part, but that is a sin on Junior's part. I mean, lying is still one of the 10 Commandments, am I right?
Oh, we were just gonna sing you a little song. But since you weren't even scared, I guess we'll just be on our way.
Bob and Larry clearly know that Junior is scared, so they're just kind of messing with him in this scene.
Sing the song!
Junior's demands for them to sing would only later be one-upped by Mr. Nezzer in Rack, Shack, and Benny. How are they controlling the lighting in this scene? And who's making the music in the background? Song. If Bob and Larry are truly trying to help Junior get over his fears, why are they starting out with a creepy-sounding song? Whose eyes are those, anyway? Are they just floating eyeballs, or are those actual monsters in the closet? In which case, wouldn't that give Junior reason to be afraid?
Was that Godzilla in the hall?
How can Godzilla fit in a hall? He's a giant friggin' monster who's bigger than Junior's whole house. Who exactly is this hairy creature, and how is he casting shadows on the wall? How are the tiny monsters phasing through a door? Are they using the same magic that Bob and Larry used to come from the ceiling? Also, VeggieTales poster near the pajama cabinet.
So you're saying God's the biggest of them all, and he's on my team!
God doesn't choose teams. If two people fight, he doesn't root for one of them. Or is he talking about the battle against Satan? Which he didn't clarify that, so this could be kind of confusing for a younger audience.
There's someone else who wants to meet you.
Was Frankensalary just waiting on the roof of the house the whole time for Bob to cue him to come in? This is the same sound effect used from when Junior was hallucinating about his family portrait. Because using cliched stock sound effects once wasn't enough. Song. It's the same song as the last one. Where did Bob, Larry, Frankensalary, and the monsters go? Were they just in Junior's head this whole time? Was that VeggieTales poster in the background supposed to suggest that in this fictional story, in the fictional universe of VeggieTales, VeggieTales exists as a fictional show? I don't really know if that's worth giving a sin or taking a sin away, so I say we just leave the sin count where it is. Extra sin for not having a sin for the Water Buffalo song. Judging by this scene, as well as the events of the end of Silliness, we can assume that Archibald has at least some sort of a creative control over silly songs with Larry. And if that's the case, and if he really does oppose the Water Buffalo song as much as he acts like, why did he ever let it get this far into production in the first place?
Long, long ago, in a faraway land,
Narration.
there lived a young
Also, So, who exactly is this narrator? I mean, basically every other character from this episode has returned in later episodes, except for the narrator. And why couldn't Bob have done the narration? I mean, he's not in this story, so he could very easily have done the narration. He is the host of the show, after all, isn't he? Song. I see they took the easy route and just chose to reuse Mozart for their song. King Darius demands an interpretation of his dream from his three wise men and gets angry when they don't give him one. But why is he getting angry in the first place? He never gave them any of the details of the dream. They just got there. Unless they're supposed to be psychic or something, which is never brought up, so I think this is a sin on King Darius's part. Daniel squashes his face against the camera, and yet the camera itself does not move from its original position.
Well,
We interrupt this song to bring you more narration. So Daniel was able to explain the dream to Darius, and we can assume by this footage that Darius is giving him the details of the dream. Doesn't that kind of give Daniel a bit of an unfair advantage over the other three wise men, since they literally knew nothing about Darius's dream at all?
you see, each one of them wanted to be second in command.
But there's three of them. Did each of them want to be number two more than the other two? Or do all three of them think that they can just share the number two spot? Ah, so I see that Frankensalary isn't the only one who does a waddle walk, but still, aside from Frankensalary and this one scene, this is the only time that any vegetable or fruit in any episode of VeggieTales does a waddle walk. Song. Again.
And it just might work.
If all three of them knew what the other ones were going to say, why didn't they all just say it in unison? Or for that matter, why didn't just one of them say it? Maybe they are psychic.
The very next morning,
Narrator again. Third time, by the way. Song. Again. This is a musical, apparently.
We must bow our heads or bend our knees.
Do any of the characters on the show have knees? And a lot of the characters, like Bob, for example, are nothing but a head.
So the law was passed.
Oh, now the narrator gets a song.
even when he knew it could get him in trouble.
Did you say trouble?
Boy, that is one flimsy fourth wall that you continue to break. The smallest wise man has to carry Daniel from his backside with his head. I'm pretty sure that's heightsist.
I can see my house from here.
No, you cannot. You were just carried away from your house for what we can only assume was about a mile or so. You're facing away from the direction where you came. You're not on a mountaintop or anything like that. You're not being elevated much, if at all, by being carried by the scallions. And on top of that, you are facing a pit of lions. You do not see your house.
Hey, don't I get a phone call?
Phone call in BC Babylon? I don't know why Daniel would be afraid of being eaten by lions after surviving a fall like that. He's clearly invincible.
We're not lying.
Lion puns.
Lions are gonna eat him. They're not gonna lie on him.
Maybe they're gonna lie on him, then eat him.
Or maybe they'll choose to lie on him after he's dead. Or maybe even lie on top of him in order to kill him.
Oh no, what am I gonna do?
Daniel's song is just a variation of the song that the wise men sang.
Oh no, what we gonna do?
Don't cry, Daniel.
The narrator's singing, again. Where exactly is that hole? Is it the same hole that the wise men just covered with a rock? And if that is the case, why didn't Daniel just climb out? I mean, even if it is a different hole, he still probably could have found a way to get out if he really wanted to. Okay, so the wise men are out partying and having a good time, but where exactly are they? This looks an awful lot like the lion's den to me. By the time everybody shows up at the lion's den, the rock they put in front of the hole has been moved. Who moved it?
See you guys later. Thanks for the pizza.
I had pizza?
Well, now that's just silly. Lions have no opposable thumbs. How could they make the pizza? Unless they called in for delivery on the phones that they clearly had back in BC times. And if they did order delivery, was it the pizza delivery guy who moved the rock out of the way of the pit? Because that would answer one question, but it would raise too many other questions, so we still have to sin this.
Surely your God is above all men.
Dang it, why are there so many songs in this? Oh yeah, I almost forgot this all takes place on a countertop. How do they get all those sets for those stories then? Do they use green screen? And wouldn't that get rid of Larry? So blue screen maybe?
1 pound ground beef. QWERTY, this is a recipe for meatloaf.
I'm sorry, but that's not a recipe for meatloaf so much as just a list of things you will need for meatloaf. It doesn't have any cooking instructions at all whatsoever. Also, recipe for meatloaf? Is that where living food comes from? I thought that when a mother tomato and a father tomato... No, never mind.
By this point, I'd forgive the 2-minute theme song, but just because you forgive a sin, that doesn't mean that the sin no longer exists. Keep that in mind as we continue.
The other day, I was walking home from my bowling league.
The unimaginable conflict of balls rolling balls.
I'll tell Marco the story of the Grapes of Wrath.
Oh, that's a classic.
Because being a classic justifies reading depressing adult literature to small children. How did the grapes get past this tiny cliff? How are they flying? Why does the shadow suddenly disappear? Pa and Ma's glasses clip through their noses. There's shaky cam, and then there's everything shaking in different directions around a still cam. This is far more disorienting. The wheels sink into the sand.
I might spit in your eye.
Well, that eye is dead. The seed went right into his eye, and now he's half blind. Thanks, Tom.
There's no escape from cranky grapes. We are the grapes of wrath.
Oh look, he escaped. Guess you guys aren't so cranky after all.
We must have hit a bump.
Somehow this does not break their car.
I did not, you taco salad rabbit, no.
Using random and arbitrary words a clever insult does not make, you seizure gas station playground nugget lords.
That would make him a casserole head iguana man.
Yeah, sorry about that. Cabbage nose Elvis puppy.
Cabbage nose Elvis bulldog. Also, that's racist to cabbages. 3 sins in advance for all the needless close-up shots this episode. Either Rosie is a tiny flying fairy godparent, or her left pigtail has a mind of its own and is stretching out to hug this log. Those are my only 2 reasonable explanations for this apparent layering error. A sparafro, which Junior's eyes happily clip through.
Hey, Bean Boys, you've been throwing peas to your noggin?
Well, that's a morbid thought for a world of talking produce. Good thing the French peas don't exist yet.
Well, jeepers, Larry.
Well's jeepers, Larry.
Luckily, Junior's dad heard him laughing.
But didn't hear his son crying first. Priorities? Dad's disco tie.
Junior's dad explained to the grapes,
Using narration as an excuse to avoid writing natural dialogue.
I guess we never really stopped to think about it.
You're probably in your 70s, and you were only just now taught that teasing is wrong? Insert Sideshow Bob clip here. Physics. What are they? The grapes laugh at a child that nearly suffocated in sand. Said laughing is a pair of 2-second loops.
so once again, Junior forgave them.
What?
That fourth wall. So Larry's the one telling this story, right? How does it suddenly become self-aware and start defying the narrator?
I'm supposed to forgive them again? After what they just did to me?
All they did was laugh. Even for a 5-year-old, that cruelty's pretty tame. Rosie's not looking directly at the camera in this shot. I know that sounds like a weird sin out of context, but the narrator is directly talking to them right now, so the least they could do is look at him.
Well, how many times am I supposed to forgive them?
The simple answer should be for as long as you live, but they managed to drag this out for another minute or so. First of all, you don't know the context to this verse. For all you know, Jesus could be talking about how many times he's gonna die. Secondly, other versions of the Bible say to forgive people 77 times. I just assume we're going to ignore those versions because this number is bigger. Third, I'm pretty sure Jesus was speaking hypothetically here. Again, forgive people enough times that you can't count the blessings. Please don't try to put actual math into forgiveness. You'll just open yourself to a bad time when I reach your 491st sin.
Does anybody know what 70 times 7 is?
They're called calculators. Even QWERTY should have that feature.
Maybe you could be the grapes of math.
Jumping into the car without opening the door, because that's safe.
Hey, kids, have you ever been bad?
Hey, this isn't a silly song.
Do you remember when you put your pet snake in Aunt Millie's pajamas and she ran 5 miles without ever getting out of bed?
No, I don't remember doing any of this stuff.
Have I got the thing for you? The new Ronco Forgive-O-Matic.
Why would you even purchase a product from a company called Wrongco?
Just dial up your sin here.
How do you dial up a sin? I'm pretty sure there's enough sin in the world that you can't abridge it all in 13 lines.
In the last 3 weeks, we dug 2 miles through solid granite.
Are you just reading that off a cue card? With your eyes covered by a hat? The moral of the story is never hang Earth's strongest knives from a ceiling prop. There will be injuries.
Just spread these seeds on here, and in a few weeks, voila! Cheer Forgive-O-Matic.
Trademarks. The salesman is left in a pitch-black room because the lighting guy was feeling particularly cruel that day. Good thing the knives mysteriously vanished, or this salesman would probably be dead.
Do you remember when we learned about forgiveness?
How could I forget?
Well, do you think the kids at home would like to hear about it?
Do you really need to ask that question? I mean, what else would you do in this video about forgiveness? And if the kids really didn't want to listen, they could just stop the video. This needlessly convoluted camera pan. I guess the smiley son from last segment was on coffee break that day. Bob's death-defying eye twitches.
And wasn't there a movie star and, that other girl?
Yeah, but they canceled.
Oh.
I mean, we would have made the Gilligan's Island parody complete, but that would have required making entirely new characters, and we're pushing it enough with Archibald's wife as it is. Archibald pokes his eye out with his wife's hat. Miraculously calm ocean today, isn't it? I mean, if it weren't for this one boat, these waters wouldn't be moving at all. Wait, which one of you is steering? Seeing how none of you have hands, it's kind of ambiguous. I could assume the boat's just steering itself by now. We probably shouldn't be able to hear the whales' cries this clearly. I mean, they're kind of under a really thick blanket of ice right now. Also, how did they even get into this position? My only conclusion is that they were jumping into the water face first and the ocean just instantaneously froze over in a millisecond while they were doing it.
Captain Larry will smash the iceberg and free the whale! Commander Buffalo has come to congratulate Captain Larry for his bravery.
No, I'm pretty sure he's here to call you a frickin' lunatic for endangering the crew.
We're making snow cones back there. You want peach or strawberry?
Produce eating produce.
At least the boat is still floating.
Shouldn't have said that. Hi, Murphy's Law.
I said I was sorry.
Well, that's just not good enough.
Bob does have a point. Maybe Larry should put in some effort to solve this problem instead of just sorrying everything away. But no, that's not the point of this episode, so that'll never be addressed.
Goodbye, Bob. I hope you find a first mate that's good enough.
Depression.
I wonder where the skipper is.
Probably in bed, seeing how I assume you just woke up.
Did you say something?
No, it was that tree over there.
Really? Well, what did it say?
You guys are not so great!
How did Bob get all the way up here?
We can build a giant catapult to fling us back home.
And hope we don't get caught in sharp winds, or crash into seagulls, or anything else that would otherwise change our trajectory and leave us stranded in the middle of the ocean. Look, see that curve? Even the model catapult can't be trusted. Hourglass mouth. Bob comfortably stands/sits on an off-center bamboo stick without falling on himself.
Gee, it sure does feel good to be forgiven when you make mistakes.
Gee, it sure feels good to blah blah moral of the episode. Objects smashing into the camera don't get brushed away, but instead completely vanish. Bob and the rest conveniently find Larry at this shore by pretty much going in a straight line, while if Larry were at the opposite side of the island, he'd pretty much be gone by the time they find him. It would have been more practical to just split up. This is not how sailboats work. Also, Larry could have just built this raft bigger and took everyone off the island with him, actually taking initiative to make up for his mistake. But again, that's not the point of this episode, so we're just going to ignore that detail.
What?
Oh, come on, he's not that far away.
Did you say something?
No, it was that tree again.
No, I'm pretty sure this is a different tree. The fact that it has a face should probably tip you off. Floating coconuts. Small thing, but Bob's eyes are detached from his nose in this shot. Palmy clips himself with his leaves.
Hey, do you like it? I made it entirely out of bamboo and coconuts. I made it entirely out of bamboo and coconuts.
I mean, we would have made the Gilligan's Island parody complete, but that would have required making entirely new characters, and we're pushing it enough with Alfred's... Loving your neighbor means tolerating their 2-minute theme song for over 22 years!
Why do I have a shoe on my head?
I'm about to tell Latasha the story of Flibber Olu. And in that story, you, Larry, have a shoe on your head.
So why is Larry wearing the shoe now? Don't they usually wait until after the countertop sequences change? And on that note, they always keep alternating between whether these stories are live or pre-recorded in relation to the countertop. Make up your mind!
Hurry up and tell the story. My head's starting to sweat.
Even more reason why they should have changed off screen like they always do. Literally the only reason why they didn't this time was so the countertop would have a punchline.
On the mountains of Fibble, the wind and the rains never came.
Yeah, I suppose that's a decent explanation for the lack of plant life anywhere.
So the people of Gibberty Lot would look down and bellow at shoe-headed fellows.
Look down. Your two towns are at about the same height. Speaking of height, I think the altitude got to everyone's head seeing how they go to war over something as trivial as the best headgear.
Mine's really more of a kettle.
Breaking the rhyme scheme in the name of a one-off joke.
Not all of the people who lived in these cities were angry and bitter and vile.
Wait, but you just said...
2 tiny towns that were nothing but trouble.
This is noticeably something but trouble. I get the feeling they forgot to animate Larry's mouth here. He's got this big, unmoving grin that he keeps for the entire shot, even when it doesn't fit.
I'm tired of lying around like a squid.
That's racist to squid.
Gosh, this is fun. It's great that my lobster can get out and run.
Hey, more of that forgetting to animate his mouth action.
It's great that my lobster can get out and run.
All was well until suddenly, the sky gave up.
Why, they shook him so hard that he dropped his milk money.
We hit the jackpot, guys. A whole penny. Guess our work here is done.
Then he said with a moan.
Larry noticeably does not moan.
The sound he could hear was just the wind hissing.
which conveniently picks up now just for the joke to work before disappearing once more. The lobster is a bad friend. You have time to sing about how busy you are, yet you don't take that time to just pull this guy out of the hole?
I'm very important, I can't stand and chat.
She says, before stopping to stand and chat. Also, they take the time to talk to each other about how busy they are, but they don't take that time to get back to their businesses and or just pull this guy out of the hole? Still not animating their mouths.
They looked at each other, then said with a smile,
We're busy, busy,
You're not even real mayors or nurses, are you?
frightfully busy.
You had time to set up a... No, I give up. They didn't put their mouths in at all for this shot. The nurse hangs a blank line on her wall because she's too busy to sign her name on it.
He has a shoe and I have a pot. But when we look deeper, there's more that we've got.
No, there really isn't. Your only defining characteristic in this story is your headwear. Who are you singing to?
now if you visit the mountains of Fibble, you won't see a shoe or a pot. Instead, they throw flowers and candy to nibble.
They still need to work on their throw. Gifts never seem to reach the other town.
And now it's time for Silly Songs with Larry.
Skip! The exhaust of the spaceship doesn't set Junior's carpet on fire.
Ah, who are you?
I'm Bob. I'm a tomato, and I need your help.
Whoa, deja vu.
If you've been through this before, then why do you need a reintroduction as if last time never happened?
Larry? What? How many times have I told you not to eat while you're wearing your helmet?
How does he eat while he's wearing his helmet? Apparently, the chocolate just phases through it somehow, as Larry nibbles on one side to swing it off the other.
Our starship, the USS Apple Pies, is in grave danger.
Does anyone else see something wrong with the namesake of a ship filled with vegetables being mashed fruit? Incoming meteor here, no meteor here.
Didn't you minor in aerospace technology at the Happy Tots preschool?
Minoring in aerospace? Gee, I wish I made that much life progress in preschool.
Play-Doh.
Trademarks. I forgave the breaking and entering since we're kind of in a life or death situation here, but I draw the line at evidenceless kidnapping. Also, the fact that Junior's parents don't hear any of this.
I think my helmet's on backwards.
You think? Something about this music makes me want to write an angry conservative letter.
How many people are on the ship?
364.
And how many escape pods are there?
2.
Well, that was a stupid design choice. Also, the captain has his own miniship complete with shrinker beam. Why don't we just have more of those for escape? Or even better, we use the shrinker beam to fit more people in the escape pods.
Popcorn ball meteor.
The worst kind.
Yeah, not like those baby meteors made of solid rock or scrap metal. Popcorn is the most lethal substance in the world. How does Scooter ever balance on this leafy nub? No wonder this is the only episode he has it.
Not the new guys. They don't know anything.
Well, that's condescending. Jerry is missing his headset in this shot. And don't tell me you took it off just to put it back on before the next one. Grab the gourds. Jimmy and Jerry were brought into the battlefield with no knowledge of what mission they had to accomplish whatsoever. Don't believe me?
Hey, look, some kind of a planet or something. What is this stuff?
That said, how did the Apple Pies crew expect the gourds to even approach the meteor, let alone decide to eat it?
Do you think it's possible?
What, the two gourds could eat an entire meteor over 100 times their size in less than 2 minutes? Why would I not? Bob panics so hard he slides back into the shot and pops away before running again. Okay, so maybe the gourds got carried away and ate their escape pods with the popcorn. My question is, how can they breathe? And how can we hear them?
Well, I got a little bit hungry, so I was just snacking on the sun table.
Setting a good example for kids there, aren't you? No, wait, that's not a table. That's a Klondike bar with legs. Also, how is it still standing with one leg completely gone?
Plug it in.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, why didn't you think of that?
Hit it, boys.
Who are these boys? The microphone dances. More trademarks. Awkwardly spinning all the way around the apple pies for no clear reason aside from a dramatic shot. They could have just made a straight shoot for Junior's house right about here.
Dad, come quick.
What is it?
Oh, so now Dad hears the loud noises in Junior's bedroom.
Maybe if the slime monster shows up and tries to squirt slime all over us, Fernando could maybe blast him with his x-ray eyes.
Children's imaginations.
Lieutenant Larry here dropped our map right out of the spaceship.
How do you even do that? You're in an airtight dome with no windows while you're driving.
Could just give us directions to the freeway?
Why do you need land directions when you're flying into outer space? Unless they're talking about them getting back to the countertop, in which case, how far into this show within a show logic are we, really? Is this just a play, or is it actually happening, and we're actually following an oblivious child with 1,000 secret cameras? And now that I think about it, this scenario would explain why Junior's parents don't notice any kidnapping, as they probably approve the studio let this show happen. But the fact that none of this is actually made clear at any point in VeggieTales is still a sin.
Can we stop at Mr. Slushy?
No, we need that money for tolls.
Paying road tolls when you're in a tiny flying spaceship. This verse is actually Leviticus 19:18b. They kinda dropped out the part about revenge in the name of their own context. The text on Cordy's screen mysteriously vanishes, but the background does not. "122 seconds of theme song."
I'm Bob the Tomato.
Bob starts the show without the slightest glance to see if Larry was right next to him.
Larry, you've got an oven mitt on your head.
So, last episode he had a shoe on his head and nobody complained.
Simply everyone is wearing them. Well, all the cool people anyway.
Larry outright states that his best friend is not cool.
Hey, that reminds me of a letter we just got from...
This is the first time that one of Bob's letters conveniently coincides with the exact problem Larry is having at the moment.
I think we need Cordy for this one.
Larry would never have thought that if it wasn't convenient to the plot.
I want you to listen to a story about 3 boys named Rack, Shack, and Benny who were in a pickle just like yours.
1, that is racist pickles. 2, a pickle just like yours, because apparently being threatened with death sentence is exactly the same as possibly losing one friend.
Anything that goes in or out of Nez of chocolate gotta come by me.
Unless they own a vehicle that could easily just fly over the gate. Like this girl who owns a vehicle that could easily just fly over the gate, but it's polite enough not to. Also, I'm sure the only reason this truck can fly is so the animators won't have to bother with wheels.
Because we work real hard at the chocolate factory. We start at 8 and we don't get lunch till 3.
That's child labor.
Excuse me, Mr. Lunt, but I've got an injury.
Now get back on the line.
You'll be just fine.
Mr. Lunt is a cold-hearted individual.
Now there's no time to play, cause we gotta work all day. And it isn't very fun.
Yes, it's just so tiring to just sit back and supervise as a fully automated assembly line does all the work. Rack eats the tables. I'm not buying for a second that Bob Jr. and Larry are the same age in this world, nor am I buying their uncanny ability to hover slightly above the ground. There is no conceivable way for these boxes to close at the bottom without breaking the bunny. I'll give these animators credit, they're the only guys I know who can successfully animate the emotion of dawning fear on an animate confectionery. Can anyone make sense of this final stanza for me?
Someday they'll come and join us.
Who's they? Are they your families that you're sending money to? And if so, what do you mean by they'll come and join us? Will they be working at the bunny factory too? And why is this worth looking forward to?
We'll live in harmony.
Yes, but how? What will change when they come to join you? I think there was something in the Bible story that wasn't translated very well here.
Every day they make 14,638 of these little fellas.
Even assuming 7-hour days, it's about 2,091 bunnies an hour, or 35 bunnies a minute, or 1 bunny every 2 seconds, which is exactly what the assembly line typically cranks out on screen at any given time. Okay, Math, you win this round.
Why, his chocolate bunnies are selling so well, I think he's gotten a little big for his britches.
It's lines like this that make me realize Mr. Nezra is the only one here who's wearing any pants. Disapparating bunnies. Mr. Nezra can afford a big screen extendable television, but can't afford it in color.
This morning, Nezra Chocolate shipped its 2 millionth chocolate bunny.
Congratulations, your factory has been open for less than 5 months.
Oh, if I could just see the looks on their faces right now.
But you can. It's called walking out of your office. Has anyone ever heard of not throwing unfinished bunnies into the air for no good reason? Baby Junior has had enough of Mom's nonsense. Where are these hands going?
Thank you, Mr. Nezer, for your lovely gift of chocolate.
Chocolate.
How would you like to be junior executives?
What's it mean?
It means you have to wear a tie.
Jack faces through a pole from nowhere.
Well, what do you know? Rack, Shack, and Benny did what they thought was right, and it paid off. This time, anyway.
Implying it won't pay off at all the next time.
And it's gonna be a beautiful thing when everybody bows down and sings the bunny song.
Now I guess I gotta address the elephant in the room. The original version of the bunny song included lines such as, I don't love my mom or my dad, and I won't go to church and I won't go to school. Such lines had to be removed in later versions of the episode because children started singing them in public, despite this being a song they weren't supposed to sing. So I could sing the original version for writing such offensive lyrics to begin with, or I could sing the newer versions for replacing the lyrics with such beautiful wham lines as,
I won't eat no beans, and I won't eat tofu.
These hands are holding a box and doing absolutely nothing with it.
That's the furnace.
What's it for?
Well, that's where the bad bunnies go.
Let's just say, in my mind, if you don't bow down and sing the song, you're a bad bunny.
The fact that these guys never take legal action against their boss for threatening murder. See, this is the problem with retelling a Bible story in a modern time period.
What would you do if you were them?
Well, I would...
I better hold that thought.
Then why'd you even ask?
Thank you for attending today's festivities.
Not like I gave you a choice in the matter, of course.
Sing the song. Sing!
Think of me every day.
Nice troll move, guys, but you could have just said no and your intention would have been just as obvious. Every employee lost a bunny emblem on their hats when they planted their faces in the sand.
Rack, I can't move my arms.
Benny, you don't have any arms.
Mr. Nezra clips through the pipe. Unrealistically epic fail. And I suppose we can't use these vats of chocolate anymore. Way to waste valuable resources in the name of killing 3 people who didn't want to sing a song.
Uh-oh.
You're back.
Well, that chase scene was entirely pointless.
Oh, but look. My truck seems to be full of garbage. Mr. Lund.
This bridge is missing a piece.
I said nobody bakes my buddies.
No, your exact words.
Can't let you cook my buddies.
You said nothing about anyone else doing it, and in this case, the laws of physics did the deed, not Mr. Nezer.
Nobody's ever gonna stand up to me again.
Except for the legal system, if word gets out that you murdered people.
Well, it looks like 4 guys in there now, and one of them's real shiny. One more thing, boss. They ain't burning up.
Here's a good lesson to teach your kids. Stand up for what you believe in, and God will grant you complete immortality. Even if somebody throws you into the jaws of death, logic will take a backseat for you to survive with no damage done. Open dual door here, close singular door here, open hall with no door here.
Is there anything I can do to make it up to you?
Well, you could sing one of our songs.
Because when it's a Christian imposing their songs on people of a different religion, it's A-okay.
To wash behind my ears.
Shaq, you don't have any ears. Every time I see a building dance, I have to wonder what it's like for the poor people inside. Oh yeah, they kind of forgot about George after the silly song, didn't they?
Okay, Larry, do you see that spoon over there? If you stand on that end of it, and I jump onto the other end, it'll fling you out of there, okay?
Okay, but then how do you get out?
Second, Cephalopians, Sicilians, Cephalopians. So Dexter, the next time you go to Billy's house, maybe you could bring one of your favorite videos to watch instead.
Note how he says videos and not TV shows like before. Self-promotion much?
It isn't always easy, but knowing you've done the right thing sure feels good inside.
Sure, at least until you've burned to a crisp in a fire for your beliefs, but other than that, good feelings all around.
I'd like to get out now.
They told me that you are the children of God. You are cowards.
2-minute theme song designed to overcompensate for how short this episode is.
Danger lurks in the big city. The world needs a hero!
That's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? One city in a particularly high threat level, and that means the whole world is doomed.
Would you give me a hand with my super suction here? It seems to have malfunctioned.
What do you mean malfunctioned? It's a plunger. It's supposed to stick to things.
I didn't know being a superhero could be so painful. Maybe you should just go back to being plain old Larry.
Nah, plain old Larry's been about as painful so far.
Pot's crack, they shook him.
Hold back, Bob!
What do you think he's doing? Public domain sneeze effect.
Dave lived in a land called Israel.
Not a problem exclusive to this episode or even the show, but I always found it somewhat on the nose that so many Bible stories take place in Israel. What, was the land of actually happened to overpopulated?
There were mostly just sheep, especially around Dave's house.
This patch of land has a disturbing lack of house.
Dave had a lot of brothers, 7 to be exact.
Although we will only ever see 3 of them because budget.
I'm kind of busy right now.
Do you remember the time we dipped you in tar and stuck you to the backside of an angry water buffalo?
Domestic abuse.
Well, sometimes I think I could eat a whole spaceship.
What's a spaceship?
Quit doing my job for me, Jimmy.
Nothing really exciting happened around there.
Sticking an innocent child to a raging water buffalo is the most boring thing in the world.
The lima beans are, lacking?
The nectarines are quacking?
Preemptive, that's racist in case we get talking lima beans or talking nectarines in the near future.
So the Israelites needed to protect themselves.
We need to protect ourselves.
Yes, Tom, we've been over this. See, this is why you were dropped from the show.
Help save Israel! We must help save Israel!
Very compelling and intuitive writing here. Behold, the first appearance of the popular French pea duo Jean-Claude and...
Ah, yes, definitely it's you.
Christophe. The French peas need subtitles for their insults, but once they're actually given helpful exposition, then we're left on our own. Also, reading, when half your audience can't.
And now it's time for Silly Songs with Laddie.
Skip!
Who will I fight?
Wouldn't this count as forfeit, especially after 40 days of failed attempts? Man, these Philistines are particularly civil when it comes to enslaving colonies.
Who's gonna fight him?
What are you, nuts? He'd have us for lunch.
Considering your species, I'm surprised you're not used to this fear by now. I am also shocked and slightly embarrassed by your hypocrisy.
You're not going to sing, are you? Couldn't you just play your harp and I'll throw things at you?
Biblical accuracy? Surely you just, Mr. Chocolate Bunny Factory in Babylon. David was this close to stabbing King Saul's eye out. Jimmy on right here, Jimmy dead center here. Here you have it, guys. Invisible hands are officially canon. This completely justifies any time I did not sin their lack of it. Moving on. And this is the point where Goliath squashes David while he's distracted, right? Right? In one of these instant replays, Goliath's hat is missing. So is the sunset going that fast, or is the sheep going that slow? Honestly, I'd believe both.
Well, they don't greet us with a theme song, or even opening logos, so that's a good start. The snowflakes are this detailed for only one establishing shot and nothing more.
That was a neat story, Grandpa George.
Child acting.
A Christmas story.
A Christmas story.
Reminding me of better films I could be watching right now instead of this one cliché. Neither of these shots can decide how Grandpa George is supposed to sit.
And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna stare out this window doing nothing until the transition ends.
Nice sunroof, but what are you gonna do when it rains? I mean, it must be uncomfortable to drive with that thing closed.
Now, wait a minute. I've only got one package today.
Really? You had plenty more when you drove over here, and if you try to say that all these presents are for other towns, his truck is almost empty when he's delivering the package. On that note, why is this package the only one that's not wrapped in Christmas paper?
Can't believe it's Christmas. Been waiting for a million hours.
A million hours is 41,667 days, or 2,738 years. I highly doubt you've been waiting for Christmas that long. Seriously? Over the course of a whole year? Or 2,738 years? That's disgusting! Lenny forgot to wear his mouth in this shot. This episode takes the conveniently timed commercial cliché to a whole new level by having the TV turn on all by itself to play it.
You want a toy that's fun. You want a toy that's cute. But most of all, you want a toy with a fully functional buzzsaw built into its right arm.
2 weeks later, this toy would be recalled for being a choking hazard.
Buzzsaw Louie also knows the true meaning of Christmas.
Well, that's gonna date the toy almost instantly.
Delivery not available to Pugsleyville due to the collapse of the Pugsleyville Bridge.
Which I'm sure will play absolutely no part in this story whatsoever. Not a bit.
So take it from me, Mr. Santa Claus.
And this is why commercials should never be live.
Billy has more toys than you.
Who's Billy?
I don't know, but he has more toys than me.
I see.
Soon everyone will know that Wally P. Nezzer is the wiliest Nezzer of them all.
I don't think that's a title you'd want, seeing how your brother tried to kill 3 people in his wily.
Must have been the worst Christmas ever.
Worst Christmas ever cliché.
Didn't like the sound of the words that was coming out of his own head.
But he was just a toy.
Maybe he was wired different. Who knows? Anyways...
Sure is hard to hand-wave a plot hole when you don't have any hands, isn't it? Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. I could tell those toys were 2D images even when I was 5. Son Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber from nowhere.
This must be the trail to the Pugsleyville Bridge.
How could you infer that, seeing just a gate with skull and crossbones on it? Oh, and real nice job protecting people from this dangerous, life-threatening bridge with only a single yard-long fence. I'm still not fully convinced that this bridge will play any sort of important role in the plot later on. Could you please remind me of that bridge a few more times in the next 5 minutes so it's ingrained in my memory? The fact that none of these guys question why this toy's alive.
Hey, I know someone who's really, really smart. Maybe they could tell us what Christmas means.
This smart person is non-binary for the sake of leaving their gender a mystery to the audience.
Well, it was, me.
For about 5 seconds.
But I didn't want to just give it to him, so I read him a story.
And after you read them that story, then you just give it to them. I love how Louie only prepares 3 cups of hot cocoa, because as we all know, toys don't drink. And neither do vegetables for that matter. They're so enthralled by this Christmas story as they're hearing it, yet as soon as it's over, they're like, wait, what? I don't get it. What was the point of all that? On second thought, that sounds like every other Christmas story in the world to me.
But that TV commercial didn't just go to Dinkletown, it went everywhere. We've got to tell everybody.
Or at least everyone with television that was on and tuned to that exact channel at that exact time, which even in the era of TV channels in 2 digits should be unlikely.
You can just forget about Pugsleyville. The bridge is out.
Can we make a game out of how many times they bring up this bridge? It's almost as if it's going to be essential to the plot later or something.
We've gotta get into that toy factory.
Excellent plan, Junior. Oh, and good luck climbing those insanely steep mountaintops on the way over there without any proper mountain climbing equipment. Or hands.
I still don't understand why we're here.
Shh! You'll just have to trust me.
Any particular reason why Junior couldn't have told them on the way over here? So our villain capitalizes on toy demand with a fair legitimate business, no strings attached, and what do our heroes do? Why, trespass into his private factory, of course. Were the Sunday morning values on coffee break or something?
Now, Junior figured that since it was a TV commercial that got him into this mess, maybe another TV commercial could get him out of it.
Let's just assume that the exact same people that saw the first TV commercial are watching TV right now, let alone the same channel. Laura's mom loses half of her eyeliner in one blink.
Listen, everybody, when it comes to Christmas, now Louie told him
Oh, come on, George, I wanted to hear what Louie had to say. Geesh, what kind of stupid narrator would cut people off like that?
That's my toy. That's my TV studio.
Mr. Nezra is more concerned about people breaking into his TV studio than he is about the toy that he made inexplicably coming to life. Now, if you'll excuse us, we'll just stare intently at this camera doing nothing until the plot catches up. Oh, here it is! So what's the point of tying these kids up? Most of them don't have hands, and the ropes are tied in such a way that they could just hop off the sled if they wanted to.
Just don't send us to Pugsleyville. The bridge is out.
Pugsleyville!
Wow, that town was actually part of the plot after all. Well, who would have guessed? Oh, and that's decent punishment. You trespass on my property, I'll throw you off a bridge. Rawr, we're gonna chew you out for nearly killing 3 of our children. Really? Nope, we're just gonna give you a teddy bear. And ignore that we looked so angry 5 seconds ago. That's our poker face.
Okay, everybody who's got hands, start tying.
Or you could just bail out. Nothing is stopping you from bailing out like you did last time.
It's ready.
Wait, what happened to all the knots in this rope? Wink.
Mr. Nezra.
Well, that one line of defense held up pretty well. Whoa.
Why, he filled Dinkletown with new tables and chairs and hutches and...
All of which are toy size, negating their purpose.
I'm from the IRS, and I've come to attack Shark.
But if you don't get some sleep, you're gonna be pooped tomorrow.
As in the humans under the bed will eat you and turn you into poop.
Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head. Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming in my bed. Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head. Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming in my bed. Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head. Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming in my bed. Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head. Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming in my bed. Oh my
being so silly.
Over 2 minutes of theme song.
So, who's got a question?
So you started your show with no actual plan in the vain hope that your seemingly non-existent live audience would have a good question?
I got an email.
You got a what?
You are so early 90s.
Man, this episode is old.
Ezio said he just did something that he knew he wasn't supposed to do.
They're being so vague about Ezio's crime here. I mean, he had to have done something at least PG-13 if they're glossing over exactly what he did like this.
The same thing happened to Junior Asparagus once.
It did? I don't remember.
Of course you wouldn't. You're never gonna know everything that happens in Junior's life, no matter how hard you try to know. Regardless, Larry is a jerk for leaving Bob in the dark here, both figuratively and literally. Bumbleberg apparently has a severe poisonous fog problem that is never brought up in the episode.
I especially like the part where the space aliens sucked all those cows up into their spaceship and then switched brains with the cows.
That's less a part and more just the entire plot of the movie. What exactly created the fib from outer space? I understand he's a lie taken physical form, but what science fiction nonsense allows lies to do that here? If there was no such nonsense, I can only assume the moral of the story was don't lie or else giant blue aliens will come down and destroy our city.
So we watched the screen for 2 years, and what do we see? Nothing.
You never see anything you want to see, even though you would totally see it if we weren't trying to make a joke cliche. Good thing it was a particularly cloudy night tonight, or else this signal would have been worthless. Alfred's floating bow tie. Cruelty to butlers. Way to protect people from crashing into the Larry cave with just a single yard-long fence.
Whoa, deja vu.
The meteor goes from totally visible to indistinguishable from the stars for no good reason aside from a clever shot. Also, if the meteor was that small the whole time, how could it ever have been visible from this far away? This does not look like a house that could hold 2 floors, but lo and behold, there's the staircase. Who stacks their books like this? They're pretty much asking for the books to fall over onto whatever's right next to them.
The greatest bowler that ever rolled a ball.
As opposed to all those bowlers that never rolled a ball. Junior thinks he can easily climb these shelves without proper shelf climbing equipment. Well, I wouldn't say that was entirely Junior's fault. The books probably would have fell eventually, whether Junior tipped the shelf or not. Laura's a bad friend for fleeing from the crime scene. How'd the fib get into Junior's house? Also, why was he hiding behind Mr. Snuggly while talking to Junior? Was he just messing with him? Kinda defeats the purpose when you're trying to come off as a
You must be new to the neighborhood.
He breaks into your house and that's your reply? I mean, it's better than how you react to Bob and Larry showing up in your room, but your ignorance to stranger danger is still sin-worthy here. The plate mysteriously vanishes off-screen.
It's Laura's fault. She broke the plate.
You know, it'd be easier to come up with a lie if you didn't try to write a song around it at the same time.
Good work, kid!
Huh?
Junior's line was cropped very poorly in this. Junior flees from home with a guy he just met, all without his parents knowing. I doubt it's that safe for the Pete to just be standing in the middle of the road like that. Or is he sitting?
And we haven't seen anything that looks like it came from outer space.
Except for, you know, talking produce, but that's a given.
Well, we did see a kid with green hair.
And in a world of talking produce, most of which being green, that's not very notable. Why, you're just going to ignore the blue blob that's clearly not a fruit or vegetable that's hiding behind the asparagus? Alright, you'll regret this and all that jazz.
Laura didn't break the plate. It was Lenny.
Fooled them once, shame on you. Fooled them the second time with a completely different story, and you might as well consider a career in politics.
I didn't even know he had a crocodile.
No, all Junior said was he gave it to a crocodile. For all you know, Lenny went all the way to a freaking swamp to break this plate.
You've got legs.
Well, they're more feet than legs.
There are no space aliens in Bumbleberg.
He says, well, a giant blue blob with feet should be in his line of sight.
Lenny says he didn't break it. Laura says she didn't.
Whoa, slow down, one at a time. I can't hear what all of you are saying.
You didn't break the plate. And you didn't break the plate. It was these space aliens.
Okay, but where's the motive? I understand Laura or Lenny, they could just be jerks, but why would aliens go out of their way all the way down to Earth just to break a single plate?
Funny, I just saw that same thing happen in a movie.
Really? Even the part about them breaking a plate? Was that really all there was to their plan, or was it just a goofy thing they did on the side? Now I'm genuinely curious since this is an actual possibility in their universe.
Don't worry, Junior. A little fib couldn't hurt anybody, right?
And this is the point where the whole metaphor for lying kind of dies out in favor of mindless destruction. Drive away, drive away, drive away. Okay, sure, do that. Candyland.
Oh, look!
Alfred, you're showing me the blank side of the card there. Turn it around, it's not like there's an audience looking at the other side.
I sure hope the rest of Bumbleberg is having a better day than I am.
Irony. So how did you not hear any of this until just now?
Can you get to the water tower?
The road is blocked. I'm afraid I'll have to go on foot.
Or you could just drive up to the bump and walk from there. You're really making a bigger deal of this than you should be. So wait, you put the car alarm on a switch where the gear shift should be. Seems legit. That is a waste of perfectly good wheels. According to Alfred's monitor, it's still daytime.
See here. We know what the monster is now.
What is it?
It's alive.
Even with the magic of 1997 internet, what research could Alfred have done to possibly learn this? Nobody knows anything about this monster except for the internet for some reason. Yeah, what was your plan again? Just bash face first into the problem and hope that kills it? The polygons on Alfred's monocle. Oh yeah, I forgot this story centered around Junior and not, the title character.
It was all my fault.
Are we just gonna gloss over the fact that Junior basically kills someone? I mean, metaphor for a deadly sin or not, Junior kills someone, and nobody cares because monster.
I think what you've been through today was punishment enough.
That's not Gail Freeman.
Doesn't it just warm your heart? And it's all because of one man.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, I know the signal means the city needs me, but I'm just gonna stand and stare at it for a while. In the name of a dramatic shot now. No hard feelings if Bumblebee's in any real danger right now.
This is literally the same shot as the last Fib entrance, only mirrored and in a different color. Nowhere near Cordy here, suddenly in front of Cordy here. There is very minimal reason to split this verse up. Oh yeah, I totally forgot this show is about God. Way to only bring him up when there's 5 seconds left in the video.
The only way for us to really be free is by doing what God wants us to do.
Freedom equals servitude.
He's not joking.
Bob can read this.
There's no need to panic, 'cause this guy is manic, and you know that'll save the day.
Lies.
You need a hand, he's right there on the double.
As long as he's not staring at signals or playing Candyland. He's a cucumber. He even says so in the record name.
Where do you turn when this world needs a hero?
Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Powerpuff Girls. This clip expresses exactly why Larry Boy is not good as a superhero, but it makes its way into the music video anyway.
I bet you're wondering why Larry has a shoe on his head.
122 seconds of theme song.
You're wondering where Larry is. He was a little tired after the last show, so we decided to let him sleep in today. But don't worry, he'll be here pretty soon.
Spoiler alert, he isn't. Unless you're talking about Larry as Joshua, though we clearly established that this Larry is just a figment of Bob's imagination.
Victor has a problem. He says there's a kid named Lewis in his class who hit him yesterday.
Darn it, Victor, never name the name of your oppressor on television. Now he's gonna do worse than hit you for epically snitching on him.
Do you suppose we have a story about that?
When do you not?
Close your eyes, Junior, and don't open them until I say so.
All right.
Remember, kids, when a grown man tells you to close your eyes and not open them until he says so, you should trust him without question, especially when feeling a strong wind and hearing crashing noises in the background.
How did we get here?
We're using our imagination.
Because that's exactly how imagination works. Lens flare.
Why aren't they out here in the middle of nowhere?
The same reason they were out in the middle of nowhere last time, Junior. It's cheaper that way.
Oh, the land God promised them was wonderful. You could grow things.
For the longest time, I always thought Bob said you could throw things. And as a rebellious child the first time watching this, I found that notion incredibly awesome. VeggieTales inadvertently gives children a bad idea of paradise.
When Moses and the Israelites left Egypt,
God's directions notably don't start at Egypt. I see the set from Madame Blueberry snuck into this episode.
Do I know you?
I'm the narrator.
Self-referential narration.
The Israelites were very sad about Moses dying. But
Yeah, keep rubbing salt in the wound, why don't you?
A dish that is filling but bland.
All these tents set the physics of a Pajama Sam quick plan.
He overlooked one little detail.
Nobody else who could clearly see this detail stopped Joshua from crashing into it.
God has given us this land for our new home. So, well, you're gonna have to leave.
Why? They don't seem to be doing anything wrong, other than taunting you for your lack of offensive strategy. There is nothing in this adaptation that says the Jerichites and Israelites can't live together peacefully.
Alsace is right.
What?
Alsace is right.
Oh, so you're murderers.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Well, things weren't going as smoothly as Joshua had hoped, so the Israelites decided to pull back and talk things over.
I could have gathered as such without the narration, Bob, and frankly, Junior probably could too.
This time, I really mean it. We should go back to Egypt.
Assuming the Red Sea is no longer a ginormous obstacle that needs divine intervention to pass.
Josh realized that this was a messenger from God. So
Remember, kids, if a strange man walks up to you in the middle of nowhere and says they're a messenger from God, take all their words to heart. I mean, it's not like this man could be a spy from Jericho, out to make fools of the Israelites by encouraging them to do nonsense tasks. That's totally not something these guys would do.
We're supposed to hop around the city for 7 days, blow our little horns, yell, and the walls are just gonna fall down. I'm sure that would work great if the walls were made out of jello.
Jimmy Gord would be better than me at Cinema Sins.
How are we clapping?
I have no idea.
What they said.
It's not because we're crazy or anything. Our God told us to do it this way.
No, some creepy guy with a sword told you to do it this way, and he could be aligned with anyone. This irritating little song. Their words, not mine.
Won't you join me in my irritating little song?
Despite the blast radius, none of these slushies splash anybody until they're off screen.
I've got slushy in my ear.
What ears?
Time to fire up the Wallminator, Jerry!
Do you think that's a good idea?
Of course he thinks it's a good idea. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought it up. The fact that it takes Bob this long to realize that Junior isn't right next to him anymore.
It didn't make sense when God told you to walk right through the Red Sea. But what happened? The water dried up.
More instances of God defying all worldly logic in the name of proving that he exists. If only it were that simple nowadays.
Sometimes God asks us to do things that don't make sense to us. Like walking around a city to make the walls fall down. Or being nice to someone who hasn't been nice to us.
Hold up a minute. Rewind to the opening.
Now in church, Victor just learned that God wants us to be nice to people, even when they're not nice to us.
That's a fair moral value, I'll give him that. But it makes what they're doing now absolutely hypocritical. I gather the Jerichites aren't really being nice to the Israelites by blocking off the Promised Land, but really, what's the worst of two evils? The group that blocks people off from a single patch of land, or the group that knowingly takes away everything the other group has worked for just to claim that one patch of land for themselves?
The people of Jericho hit them with everything they had.
All they had was slushy? Jerry wore his eyes too high for this shot.
We will tear down your wall and your eardrums!
Don't worry, guys. We had most of the Jerichites evacuated before the walls fell down. We're positive nobody got buried.
Finally, after 40 years, they were in their new home.
Their new home of endless dust and mountains of rubble. Welcome to the Promised Land, everybody.
We're gonna march through the streets, walking hand in hand.
What hands? No, scratch that. What streets?
But did they really build a rocket in the middle of the desert and get slushies dropped on their heads?
That depends. Did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego really work in a chocolate factory?
I'll be right back.
How did the French peas get all the way up there? Oh, Bob, you know you love the song.
Oh, wow. Forgot about that one.
This episode is loosely based on a book that should never be read to small children. 2-minute theme song makes you thankful for the fast forward button. Yet again, Bob starts the show without checking to see if Larry is right next to him. Okay, everyone, there's your headphone test for the evening. Hope your right ear's not dead yet.
You must be pretty happy to get a cool toy like that.
Cool toy? That thing's 4 times his size.
Maybe this would be a good topic for today's show.
Wait, what's this? No letter from a child that conveniently coincides with Larry's problem? Oh joy, aren't we getting ambitious?
Tell me, Tomato, where do French peas come from?
France?
That's racist.
Madam Blueberry, I think I've seen that one.
Yes, Larry, you have seen it. You were in it. Gotta love that selective memory. 53 seconds of pretentious establishing shot. The madam was taking ridiculous selfies before it was cool. Seriously though, what's with the clown nose?
These spoons are too tiny. These forks are no good.
We get it, madam. You hate the silverware, but throwing them to the ground will only make them worse. Anyone else find it kinda creepy and stalkerish that the madam would take portraits of other people's stuff? Where would she find the time or opportunity to collect all these pictures? I see you back there, Mr. Art Bugatti limited edition collector's plate. I wouldn't be surprised if you broke at some point during this video.
Her butlers tried to cheer the poor berry up, but their efforts were fruitless.
I get it, 'cause they're all fruit.
What does it mean?
What do you mean, what does it mean? It's a stuff mart. It's a mart with stuff. It's self-explanatory.
I've been around since show 1 and I still don't have a name. Would you mind if we stepped in, please?
The madam never provides a proper answer to this question, so the salesmen are legally breaking and entering.
Get ready for some real nice stuff.
This week on sale at the Stuff Mart, I can buy invisible hands, but invisible feet are overkill.
All you need is lots more stuff.
Okay, I was with you until you gave me that menacing glare, and now this entire story is basically over.
And now it's time for Silly Songs with Larry.
Skip.
Love Songs with Mr. Lunt.
Double skip. Well, here we are, staring quietly, not doing much at all because doing things is expensive and we're poor. Uh-oh, our customers aren't impressed. Quick, give the sign some more twinkle. Yeah, that ought to do it. This scene single-handedly sparked my childhood fear of automated doors. Oh, I see you back there, Buzzsaw Louie, and here I thought you'd be out of season. Oh, I can already tell the Adfigswee dolls are gonna be flying off the shelves. A lot of people point out that the madam's hair suddenly turns yellow halfway through the show. I always thought it was just a wig, but that raises another question. Why would the madam even want a wig? I get that she probably doesn't like her hair, but that's what hair dye is for. It's more permanent and can't fly off during an impromptu chase scene. Junior's mouth is too big for a shirt. Goliath versus the Fib? This needs to happen. Alright, who's the joker that stocked the chocolate bunnies above the Buzzsaw Louie action figures? It's a store-wide fire waiting to happen. Wait a minute, they're bringing packages into the madam's house? Whatever happened to leaving it by the front door? Either this is a serious invasion of privacy or the madam was dumb enough to give the salesman her keys. By all means of logic, this climax shouldn't even be happening. While Bob takes matters into his own hands, the madam's like, "No, I'm too pretty to drive an automated shopping cart at 45 miles an hour." In the middle of this chase, the madam takes the time to put her sunglasses back on. To everyone who says that Larry was too stupid in VeggieTales in the house, remember this scene and sob quietly in the corner. I see the Lion's Den kept their business running for a good 1,000 years. Must be some really good pizza. With all the abuse this tree is getting, I'm surprised it hasn't completely snapped yet. Oh, thank goodness no one was hurt. If that trajectory was just a few yards off, or, if there were any cars in the parking lot. How many preschool shows can you say end with the main character homeless, having lost everything, and still come out of it in a good mood? It would have been so easy for the madam to just lose all her Stuff Mart stuff and revert to the status quo. Heck, they could have brought God in to magically restore her house from nothing, because that asinine moral worked twice. But this is smart. This is mature. It's too bad Phil Vischer didn't learn anything from it. Phil Vischer runs a successful ministry that spreads all across the world, but he's never satisfied with his impact. He wants more. He's especially envious of other bigger companies as he endlessly pines for their feature films and theme parks. But when Phil puts his trust in sleazy corporate executives, his company does get bigger, but it also gets harder and harder to control. And by the time he decides that bigger is no longer better, it's too late. His company has failed, and through a combination of a lawsuit and a very expensive movie, most of his assets are either watered down or completely destroyed. What I'm trying to say is this episode was the ultimate self-fulfilling prophecy.
I'll tell you what's going on.
What if I told you this was the only VeggieTales classic I did not watch when I was 5? Good thing too, because I know this bizarro montage would have given me nightmares. Not even 90s home videos are exempt from suddenly changing their title post-release for optimal marketing. Wait, this is a sing-along? Oh, don't tell me we're gonna—
Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head.
G7. Ref G7.
We later get a close-up of this jukebox, and it turns out that not only is Song of the Cebu not G7, but there aren't even enough songs to require inputting a number.
Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming in my bed.
I have to say, this is a really weird framing device for a sing-along. Yeah, kids, if you actually had fun with that last song, you just made Larry very disappointed. The final appearance of Lovey Asparagus is the only time we ever see her with hair. So, was it just covered by her hats this whole time, or is it just a stylish wig? Jimmy, how many clicks does it take to press the letter C?
Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I
This song's original title was The Chocolate Factory. It fits so much better, and I don't understand why they changed it.
Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming it in my bed.
See, big idea? A 30 frames per second version of this shot does exist, so why have we been stuck with the unpatched version since 2002?
Oh my word, this tune
is actually not as upbeat and peppy as the rest of the video, so let's just move on.
It isn't any trouble just to have some
I did not grow up with the SMILE song, so for the longest time I had no idea why poor Larry suddenly burst into the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
This one is so funny. You're big, I'm little.
I don't get it. How is Big Things 2 supposed to be funny? Also, Jimmy acts as if that's going to be the next song, but no, it's actually...
Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming it in my bed. Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head.
This song's original title was Salesman's Rap, and while I can definitely understand why they changed this one, it still demonstrates a lack of commitment.
Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming it in my bed.
I hope those guys didn't get hurt falling on their heads like that. Do you think they got hurt?
Larry would be incredibly depressing at CinemaSins. Interactions like this really make me wish Larry and Archibald had a more long-term rivalry and it didn't just end with this episode. Considering the context of a jukebox framing device, it's kinda weird that his cheeseburger would even include this extended opening. Convenient for the plot, of course, but still peculiar for your average customer that would have to wait 58 seconds before the actual song began.
Oh my word, this tune is annoying. Yes, I know it's really annoying. I can't get this song out of my head.
Also peculiar that these guys waited for the song to end before confronting Archibald for his actions.
I was simply acting in the public's best interest.
Which public were you best interesting? Song of the Cebu was a smash hit with or without a clean end to its narrative. How convenient that the rain we've had for this entire episode stops just in time for the climax. Save Our Silly Songs was a real-life petition that got 167,512 signatures, most of which from a single US state. Nowadays, we'd be lucky to get 2,000 signatures across the entire world. How far the fandom has fallen. Big Idea's reflection technology just cannot handle Archibald's monocle and a wooden finish at the same time. If Silly Songs were cancelled right after Cebu, when did you get time to record this? Oh, so I guess you can just insert any old CD into this jukebox with zero security measures. I'm sure that's never been exploited by any troublesome teenagers.
Make it stop, this tune is annoying. I gotta go to work in the morning. Now I'm gonna be humming it in my bed.
Oh yeah, this entire set was ripped wholesale from an Edward Hopper painting. Forgot to mention that somehow.
Why'd it have to be worms?
Oh, you guys couldn't go one more episode without a created by credit, could you?
Do you remember what we saw the last time we were here?
So how many of you watched The Fifth from Outer Space before watching this episode? To those of you who haven't and are really freaking confused right now, don't worry, because all this vague continuity is entirely pointless to the plot.
We're not supposed to talk to strangers.
He says to a stranger.
Every Monday morning, your mom gives you $1.28.
But that's my milk money.
Does that mean you only ever drink milk on Mondays? Also, this robber goes around stealing people's milk money when it'd be much more efficient to swipe their theater funds instead. I mean, I don't know how expensive theater tickets were at the time the show was made, but I'm sure it was more expensive than milk.
It's not nice to take people's milk money.
Implying that hanging people upside down off the edge of a building is any better. I counted 37 cents in this pile, meaning you're 91 cents too short. There is no physical way that these two backdrops can be the same billboard. Assaulting police cars. Alfred can get this POV shot of Larry Boy without a physical camera. For that matter, Larry Boy is staring at a non-existent camera. What kind of vegetable is this lady supposed to be? For the first and seemingly only time in VeggieTales history, we witnessed the actual creation of walking, talking produce. I never thought we'd be given a legit science-fictional explanation for it, but here we are. So yes, there is a theme song, but it's short enough that I can let it slip by without a sin. Moving right along. Want to save money on animation? Just leave us in total darkness for a while and use the setting as a punchline.
Tomorrow we're gonna learn about rumors.
Had it not been for that one snowy day in February, the whole crisis of this episode could have been avoided. Now, why would anyone want to use the same voice clip twice in a row?
I don't know.
This does not look like a house that could hold 2 floors, but... Oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong script. What shot is this episode from again? Balls playing with balls. There's gotta be something wrong with vegetables cooking meat. I mean, granted, it's not technically cannibalism. Yet.
I just read a book where dangerous robots took over the world.
Dad Carrot has evolved from Jimmy Gourd voice to incomprehensible Egyptian since the toilet saved Christmas. Alfred's miscolored cap.
Oh, sweet, sweet Petunia.
Why does this line give me chills?
Hello, Larry. Listen, I need you to get Larry Boy.
As much as I appreciate cheap jokes about a superhero's paper-thin secret identity, we still need to look back and find that the mayor contacted Alfred, so Alfred could get Larry, so Larry could get Larry Boy. Why can't Alfred just get Larry Boy directly? Gee, that danger sign is so helpful. Who knows how many people would have crashed into a giant wall without it. This disco lighting is completely impossible. Give Flipper or Lou some credit, at least they didn't pretend the sky was a solid wall. Why would Larry Boy go all the way into some random person's yard to catch a weed when he should know that there's one hiding right behind his mansion? Attempting murder. Also, nobody is shocked that the city's superhero is just sorta in their backyard.
We rumor weeds know how a rumor can grow, just like a big weed in the ground.
Just spelling out that metaphor for all those 3 to 8-year-olds who didn't get it yet. Alfred's got a close eye on Junior. His plot convenience levels have become too high to ignore.
I'm a rumor weed. Yes, it's true.
Why are you so happy to sing with the guy that's holding your hero captive?
It doesn't photosynthesize.
Why do we care if it takes pictures?
Boo.
They're feeding off something, but I don't know what.
Gee, what a mystery. It's not like she spelled it out for you in song form already.
A tiny little story is all I need.
These weeds are strong enough to break up sidewalks, smash through brick walls.
Don't tell rumors, kids, or you'll be responsible for the destruction of a major city. Best moral ever. You know, I'm just gonna lay back on this expensive machinery and assume I don't press anything. It'll be as fun as the time I sat on my laptop, wasting perfectly good wheels and a perfectly good bumper.
And now push the red button.
Red button is bad cliche. Except it isn't. Alfred's just withholding information about his plan because apparently he likes watching Larry Boy think he's going to die. The Larry Mobile must have some pretty sweet insurance if these guys are so willing to throw away parts willy-nilly.
I'm slowing you down now so you don't hit the wall too hard.
Well, if that's your definition of a soft landing, what would too hard have looked like?
The sewer walls must be blocking the transmission.
Man, if only there was a giant hole in the wall the transmission could seep through. I mean, if it could get through rock and soil just fine before. Black convenient sewer lighting.
Larry Boy is battling a giant...
Seriously, is I Can Be Your Friend the only thing that ever plays on Bumbleberg's radio? Well, this is the most racially diverse cast of characters we ever had on this show. Now let's never do it again.
He's got a shiny metal head, just like a robot.
A shiny metal head that you've only ever seen him wear today. Seriously, Alfred, just take the helmet off and they'll believe you. Yes, just walk closer to the dangerous robot with laser eyes. Leave yourself even more open to his wrath. That'll make us safe.
I'm not a robot, I'm British.
Implying there can't be British robots. Mysteriously appearing bandage. No lipstick.
He's gonna take over the world!
Now, where did you hear that?
The weed told me.
Dad Asparagus is the only sensible one in this entire city. No shadows here, shadows here.
If you hear something about someone that sounds bad, or even just weird, you should ask them about it.
Who are you talking to? Junior and Laura, or us? I ask because this is the only shot where you are staring directly at the camera.
God doesn't want us to tell stories that can hurt.
There you go again, not bringing up God until the very last minute. That's gonna frustrate half your audience. Actual murder.
Is there a flower show?
You nearly killed us all.